When Ogechi reached the hostel gate, she saw several cars parked nearby. She called Mr. Augustine to ask which one was his. I am in the black Range Rover, he said. Her eyes immediately landed on it. As she approached, her heart pounded a prayer. Let everything work out for good. When she reached the driver's side, the window slid down and the world fell still. There, seated behind the wheel, was no stranger. Ebuka? Her voice was stunned, sharp with disbelief. So you are Mr. Augustine? The weight of it hit her like a wave. Shock gave way to betrayal, then anger rising in her chest. Why did you lie to me? Ibuka stepped out of the car calmly. Oge, please, can we talk in the car? Let me explain. Despite the swell of emotions, Ogechi climbed in. She had always been rational and her heart demanded clarity. He began softly. After he dropped her home that day in the village, he knew she was the one. He had asked his uncle about her and learned everything: the loss of her father, her selflessness, the sacrifices. He was in the village overseeing his house construction, so he saw her often, quietly, respectfully, from afar. Each time he visited her mother, he made sure she wasn't around. I didn't come into your life as Mr. Augustine to test you, he explained. I just wanted to be closer to you. I was tired of being a faceless voice. You complicated things, Ogechi said. You should have told me the truth. I still would have loved you. He looked at her with tender regret. You didn't like me then, not after I said who my father was. I thought I would never have a chance as Ebuka, so I let Augustine love you the way I couldn't. Honestly, I loved you. I liked you even as Ebuka, she confessed. The moment you said you weren't your father, that you were different, I believed you. You didn't need a new identity. You just needed honesty. Ebuka smiled, soft and boyish. I love how you roll your eyes, he said quietly. There was a pause. In hindsight, I shouldn't have pretended. No more lies, Ogechi. Please forgive me. She nodded gently. His remorse was sincere. Then he reached into his pocket, brought out a small velvet box, and opened it. A delicately crafted ring glistened in the middle. Oge, from the first time I met you, I dreamed of calling you my wife. I thought you were 20, maybe 21. My uncle later told me you were still in secondary school, and I knew I had to wait. That I had to wait for you to grow a little older. But now, I don't want to wait anymore. Will you marry me? Will you make me the happiest man alive? Ogechi's heart swelled, but part of her was still holding back. You lied to my mother, she said. You said you were from the Wakana family in Efite. Well, I didn't lie entirely, he replied. My mother is from the Wakana family, but I will apologize to your mother, I promise. Then quietly, almost nervously, he added, do you love me, Ogechi? Do you love Ebuka the way you loved Augustine? She gazed at him, really looked at him. Every time she had imagined Mr. Augustine, it had been Ebuka's face she had conjured. The voice, the warmth, the kindness. It had always been him. She reached out, letting him take her hand. I love you, Ebuka, as much as I loved Augustine, because in the end, you were one and the same. Thoughtful, kind, patient, wise, funny, generous, God fearing. I should have known. He smiled as he slipped the ring onto her finger, then leaned in, his forehead brushing hers. I want us to get married when you graduate next year, he said. We will have our honeymoon in America or anywhere of your choice before your NYSC program begins. I also want to set up a microfinance bank in your name for you to manage when you have some level of experience in your field. Ogechi's eyes glistened. I know you want to buy your mother that house yourself. I could do it right away, but I know you'd never let me. So I will just step back and support you from behind the scenes, just like I always have. She nodded slowly, tears sliding down her cheeks. God has been good, she whispered. He gave me you. Ibuka smiled through his own emotion. I must have done something right for God to bless me with a woman like you. So decent, hardworking, tender, and strong. I watched my father destroy our family. I promised myself that if I ever found a good woman, I would spend my life treating her like a queen. I love you, Ogechi, he whispered, and I will always love you forever and a day. A year and a half later, Ebuka and Ogechi tied the knots in one of the most talked about ceremonies in Anambra State. On the day of their traditional marriage, the sun rose gently on that Saturday morning in Ekulobia, casting a golden glow on the village as the sounds of music, laughter, and celebration filled the air. The ceremony was a masterpiece of culture and elegance. Bright Ankara lace, Isiagu and George fabrics fluttered in the breeze. Canopies decorated in gold and ivory shimmered on the swaying palm trees, and guests from across Nigeria filled the space with vibrant energy as the couple sealed their union with cola nuts, palm wine, and heartfelt vows. Elders prayed, drums echoed, and joy flowed like palm wine. 2 weeks later, they stood beneath a flower draped altar for their white wedding. Ogechi, radiant in a timeless white lace gown with a cathedral veil, held Ebuka's hand as he stood tall and proud in a tailored black tuxedo. In the presence of friends, family, and God, they exchanged their vows, spoken with steady voices and teary eyes, a promise of love, redemption, and unshakable hope. They sealed their promise with a kiss that echoed through the pews like an answered prayer. The reception took place in a grand and beautifully decorated hall, which was built by Ebuka solely for that purpose. Top, dign- Top dignitaries from all walks of life were in attendance, and gas top cookers were among the souvenirs shared. Many of the guests went home with tales of how elaborate the wedding was. The unique decor, an array of African and international mouth-watering dishes that were served, and most especially, they talked about how intentional the groom was towards his bride. The single ladies oohed and ahed over the way Ebuka looked and treated his wife so lovingly. It was even visible to the blind that true love was evident in that union, and it looked as though no matter the storms that may come their way in the near future, their love for each other was strong enough to weather them. Their honeymoon was a tender escape into wonder. Hand in hand, they walked through Times Square, marveling at the dazzling lights. Street performers, laughter, and late night hot dogs painted the city alive. At the beach a few days later, they had a quiet picnic, barefoot, sun kissed, and wrapped in each other's warmth. Ogechi leaned against Ebuka as they watched waves kiss the shore, feeding each other fruits and giggling like best friends, discovering discovering love anew. Every moment was light-hearted and sacred, a celebration of a dream that had walked through fire and come out whole. A year and some months later, laughter multiplied. Ogechi gave birth to twin boys, Uche and Chiemele. The hospital room brimmed with tears, prayer, and promise. Ebuka cradled the boys with such awe, whispering blessings into their tiny ears. At home, their nursery was painted in soft blues and creams, adorned with tiny safari animals, and a verse that read, "For these children we have prayed." The boys brought a beautiful chaos into their lives. Feeding bottles, baby giggles, first steps. The babies were a handful but great blessings. And Ebuka, ever the doting father, would rock them to sleep, humming lullabies he made up on the spot, most of them terribly off key. But Ogechi would always laugh and say, "Keep going, minstrel. Your fans are falling asleep." 5 years after their wedding, under a wide white maquet, surrounded by friends, family, and dignitaries, Ogechi, now a poised and accomplished banker, stood in a sleek crimson suit, cutting the ribbon with grace. Beside her, Ebuka, who looked dashingly handsome in his navy blue suit, beamed with pride. Their boys were in matching suits with their dad, gripping their mother's fingers and blinking innocently at the cameras. They all stood beside the amazing woman in their lives who was cutting the ribbon to her dream, God's Time Microfinance Bank. The crowd erupted in applause. The building stood tall and proud, its name gleaming in green. Traders and marketwomen who once struggled to save money now had a dignified space to grow their businesses. Farmers, students, and single mothers stepped forward with hope in their eyes, ready to build futures. In her opening speech, Ogechi said, "This isn't just a bank, it is a sanctuary for hope. This is for the woman selling pepper, the young man with a vision, and the family praying for a fresh start. This bank stands because God remembered us. We named this bank God's Time because it reminds us that delay is not denial. This bank is built on the sacrifices of my family, the love of my husband, and the grace of a God who never forgets his own." As they stepped into the banking hall with her husband and sons, she looked up to the heavens and said, "Papa, Olisa finally heard us. I know you are looking down and smiling down on us." Ebuka heard her, smiled, and wrapped his arms around her, their sons toddling happily ahead of them. The end. If you got to this point, I just want to say I am super, 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 super grateful. Like, I am over the moon. Thank you so much. I don't take your support for granted. I am very, very appreciative of you listening to me and, liking this video, sharing, giving him your feedback. I really would love to know what, you thought of this amazing piece, this story I just told you. I want to hear your feedback in the comment section. So please, please, please hit the comment section with your feedback. I'm waiting. Thank you so, so much.